Hey fellow cyclists, thanks for tuning in again. I got the handlebars cockpit area pretty much finished. I got the version 2 installed of my handlebar fairings and got them all wrapped up with bar tape, and I ended up using tape for tennis rackets and the inboard sections of the handlebars to kind of just clean up the look of the fairings and the handlebar that's exposed. And I did retain the traditional bar tape in the area where your hands would be on the drops, and also on the transition where the hoods are. The tennis racket tape is a lot thinner, a lot lighter, but it's still grippy. So you can see that there. And I also did a little bit of work on routing the cable housings because I changed the GPS mount that I had on there. Before, I had the Garmin branded out front mount that had a pretty large clamp over the I think this is 31.8 millimeter section of the handlebar, and wanted to just clean this area up a little bit more, which also meant I had to route the cable housings. I have the Ultegra mechanical, I think it's the 8020. So they're hydraulic brakes with mechanical shifting, and you have the two cable housings going this way. Well, one is the hydraulic tube, and then the shift cable housing. And I had them come under and meet each other from left and right. And I ended up tying them together with waxed lacing cord. So I'm an aircraft technician, over 20 years working on VIP luxury jets and helicopters. And this is a method of securing wire bundles and some other cables and tubing together. It's a really effective and light method to secure cables, and it's waxed in order to prevent slippage. And I think the knot that you use is a clove hitch, so you can look that up online. Don't quote me on it, I'm just going by memory, but I think it's called a clove hitch. So I have one wrap around the stem that's pulling up on the two sides of the cables, and they cross each other in an X pattern, and then they come down. It's a much tighter and cleaner method of routing, I think, if you're still on a mechanical group set, as opposed to having the cables from left and right meet here, and then having this pretty large radius going down into the bike that way. So I think from where you're riding, it looks a lot cleaner, a lot smaller, tighter. So yeah, what I ended up doing, if you didn't see my last video, I'll show you version 1 of the handlebar fairings. They're 3D plastic printed. It's just, I think it's PETG. UV protection. I use double-sided tape in the inner radius there, made by Tessa. And I use 3M filament tape to secure the fairing to the bars. And 3M filament tape uses glass fiber, so I do not recommend using like gaffer tape or any other kind of duct tape, because it uses cloth fibers, and cloth, as you know, stretches, and glass is less likely to stretch. And that's why I use the filament tape, very similar to the Redshift cruise control grips. I think they're secured also with filament tape, but they're unidirectional, and I use a bidirectional weave. So they basically get mounted there, I have a cutout here for the original Garmin mount that I had on there, the out front Garmin mount, and a little opening there for the Allen head screw. And I had the original set installed for about a year, and just kind of beta testing them, and they were rock solid. Potholes, putting all my weight on them, you name it. There's no cracking whatsoever. After a year of use, I installed this foam because I also did it on this set. I used a dark gray so you can barely see it, but there is a foam insert in there just in case there's any leakage of airflow inside the fairings, because the fairings are hollow, to keep them light. And I did weigh the new version 2 set, and I believe the old set cut with the foam were 80 grams for the pair, and the new set are 100. So I may work in the future to try to get that a little bit lower. But for now, I wanted to test this. The trailing edge has a larger radius, as I mentioned in the last video, and that's to comply with the laws here in Germany for protruding accessories on bicycles. That's basically to try to prevent injury in case of a crash. And I also increased the radius so that the outer edges extend outward more. You can see on this left side there, they have a little bit smaller and tighter radius there, and terminate a little bit earlier, whereas the new set now go a little bit further around. And I think these might actually be a little bit have a better drag, or I should say less drag than a monocoque style bar stem, composite bar stem, or aero bar stem that you see. Because on my research and looking at the other bar stem setups, so the components on the bike, they all have to conform to the laws in the country. And one of the laws is that any kind of rigid component mounted on the bike has to be of a certain radius. And accessories actually have less of this requirement, which means I can get a much smaller radius on the back. So these are about 5 millimeter of a diameter, 2.5 radius, and I believe the other components have to be, I think they're 12 millimeter diameter, so 6 millimeter radius, which is pretty large. And I know there's been a lot of discussions on camtails and how camtails are an excellent way to conform to UCI regulations, the 3-to-1 rule. Now, I'm not going to delve too much into it because there's a lot of other videos about that. And I'm actually under 3-to-1 on my fairings here. However, they're not UCI legal because the UCI bans fairings or any kind of aerodynamic fairings on the bike. But I don't race anymore, and I also don't want to spend 250 euros or more for a new cockpit setup when I can just, use a fairing and have something that is much more streamlined than the original round bars, is very cheap to manufacture, and just looks a lot nicer and cooler, and makes me happy. So I like to be happy on the bike. I like to ride a good looking bike, and there's nothing wrong with this bike. I've bought it new since 2021. It's a giant TCR. I think it's an Advanced Pro 1 Plus because it came with the 42 millimeter deep carbon wheel set. So yeah, I'm gonna do a quick slap test for you in case there's anyone that's still not sure about how strong these are. Just bear with me while I keep the camera stable. I'm going to put my elbow on the saddle so the bike doesn't fall over. So these are rock solid. There is a little bit of flex to them, but yeah, I pretty much mounted them the same way I did from the first version. And yeah, I'm gonna test them now. I also ended up, what's not on the original version, I ended up drilling, this is the right side now, I ended up drilling a couple of holes here outside of the tape line, and that's just to allow any water to drain out that might collect inside this area. So that's the other thing I did there. I wanted to go quickly over some tapes that you can install for your bike that you might not be aware of. First, I'll start with the fairings. So this is a Tessa double-sided tape that I used in the inner radius of the fairings. I'll show you this one again. I ran them almost full length. I also put tape in this section. It just peeled off when I took the fairings off. And then this is the 3M filament tape that I used. I think I ended up using 2 lines of this tape wrapped 3 times, and that was wrapped over the shifter cable and the hydraulic tube. And I also did a 3-turn wrap on this outer radius portion there too. And then, as you can see, the traditional bar tape, and then the tennis racket tape on the inboard section. So that's the wrap there. This is the waxed lacing cord that I used to secure the cables together. And I believe that's the clove hitch knot that you're supposed to use to secure that. You can look that up. Before using the tennis racket tape, I was actually considering using, this is called self-vulcanizing tape or self-adhesive tape. There's no glue on it, but it does fuse together. So it's another method of wrapping electrical wires and cables together. Yeah, I prefer the tennis racket tape versus that, but I just wanted to show you guys that that could be an option. Another option is cloth hockey tape. You can also use, I'm not too big of a fan of this because it does hold moisture. I think it's very porous and you know, just would act like a sponge. And that's actually why I like using perforated tape, especially in the areas where you spend most of your time, and you know, in the hoods area. If you have your bikes on a indoor trainer like I do, you know, you have a lot of sweat dripping down your arm and just kind of laying here on this curve. And if you're not familiar, that's a huge area for corrosion to develop. So for the longest time, I've always installed perforated handlebar tape in that area. Well, basically, I just always wrap my bars with perforated tape. This is erosion tape, or a very thick vinyl tape. I think I just got it on Amazon. I'm not sure what the brand is. It's not super sticky. It does come off. It will leave a little bit of residue left that cleans up easy with isopropyl alcohol. But you can use this for, you know, as a chain guard on your chainstay. I added some pieces on the inboard section of the crankset in case I have a down chain in that area. And I also ran a little bit on the head tube because of my cable routing has changed, and now I get contact with the brake tube there, so I just put a little piece there. And then you could also use what a lot of other people use, and that's just standard electrical tape. So I ended up using that to secure the traditional handlebar tape in this area here. So yeah, if you guys have a 2021 Giant TCR, I can do another video on this out front mount, I believe made by Giant. I think it's under a different brand called My 21 TCR. I think that's what it's called. But here in Germany, we have a Giant distributor called, I believe it's called S-Tech. And I think I paid like 17 or 18 euros for the mount. And it's adjustable, so if you have a larger Garmin head unit, you can extend it. And also the mounting hardware onto the stem comes with the mount, and that is also a little bit of adjustable left and right. There's some adjustment there. So yeah, I'll be doing a review later on that, see how that works out. And yeah, so the only thing I have left after the winter maintenance is now just going through the gears, making sure everything shifts well, and then cutting the cables, crimping the ferrules on there, and I should be ready to go for the next riding season. All right, let me know what you guys think. Would you guys use a set like this, these 3D printed handlebar fairings? Or would you rather just go out and get a whole new cockpit for, I'm not sure however much they cost now, but last I saw they started around 250 euros. I've seen some of them upwards of 600 euros or a little bit more. I mean, that I just can't justify spending that money. I'm more than satisfied with the bike, what it does for me. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for tuning in and watching this video, and happy riding in 2026. Happy New Year's, guys.